Happy Devils Wednesday. This is the State of the Fan Address, episode 118, titled Let's Get Kracken Live NHL Expansion Draft. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Pucks and Pitchforks blog editor-in-chief Nick Bolano, streaming live on Facebook Live, Twitter Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network, on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Prime Music, Audible, and the iHeart app, and wherever you get our podcasts. Yeah, I can hear the booing right now through my television screen. Gary Bettman is presiding the Seattle Kraken expansion draft. We're here live, getting your live reaction. Everybody is just tuning in. Nick, we've been waiting for this for the last couple years. The leaks. But I'm still having fun.
Yeah. I mean, just you can hear me? You got me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think there's something wrong with your feed. Of course that has to happen before we go on live there. But keep on going,
10
Nick.
seconds ago. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll keep going.
Yeah, I'll try to fix it on the fly.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we know all the picks. It is what it is. There's still going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for tonight's podcast. I'm excited to talk and kind of go over the picks as they come in. We were going to go pick by pick as they came in, but we'll start with the Devils because this is the Let's Go Devils podcast. So, makes it here. So Nathan Bastian got picked. It makes a lot of sense. He's got size. He's got skill. Former second-round pick. Somebody who showed to be an NHL player last year. Led the team in hits. You know, he does some things that, listen, it's not that hard to replace. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not hard to replace what Bastian does. There's players who are on the street who do what he does. And I liked Bastian. I really like him with McLeod, too, because it seems like he gets the best out of McLeod. That's the one thing I'm really worried about is how is this going to impact Michael McLeod now that Bastian's gone for good? You know, McLeod fell off when Bastian left Mississauga. McLeod fell off when Bastian left Binghamton and went to play in New Jersey for a little while. Like I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. Those two are friends, like legitimate friends, and they got to play on the same exact NHL team. Like it doesn't happen. Same junior team. You get the room together. You get to eat together. You get to live together. You go out together. You know, talk to girls together, you talk to boys together, you get friends together, you're part of the group. It's a very, the camaraderie just comes with it. Now, McLeod's been on the team for a little while, so it's probably going to be harder for Bastian than it's going to be for McLeod, but I'm just curious if that has any impact. I see some people saying that this is the worst case scenario. This was not the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario was for them to protect 8 and to lose McLeod or to lose Kuokkanen. Those were the worst case scenarios. Would I have rather them take Subban? I don't know. It sounds like Subban has value to the NHL. They're leaving him out there. Teams are saying that they're going to they would take him if the Devils would eat some of that salary cap hit, which I think if the Devils really want to do, they will. And if they get something of value in it, why would you just give up something of value? For Bastian right now, I think you get like a second-round pick. You get something in that same round for Subban? Yeah, why not? It's funny. They're showing some of the big names that are available right now. Subban came up. Vladimir Tarasenko's up there. A couple of Carey Price is up there. A couple of names we know aren't going anywhere. It's funny. They're still playing the role. Although, Sam, I would laugh hysterically. I would laugh hysterically if they came out here and like the first pick, Frank Cervalli and Chris Johnson got completely wrong, and then just throw this whole thing into chaos.
Oh,
Sam,
yeah.
if you're Gary Bettman, right? Do you not go to the Kraken and be like, you got to change one of your picks? And we're going to name that one first. Right? Like,
Yeah,
wouldn't you do that?
Although Matt Freudenberger did point out something, I don't know how true this is, on the Woo Report, that the reason why they did this is to give each team a chance for a possible trade.
Well, there's a roster freeze. You can't trade right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Matt
the roster freeze.
Freudenberger.
It lifts tomorrow at like noon, which is so
Gotcha.
dumb. They should have. The roster freeze should be lifted right now. So not only could they announce picks, but remember announcing that Corey Schneider trade at the draft? How cool that was!
Yeah.
Hey, like the NHL, just come hire me. I will save your soul. Just come hire me.
But
Call me Jewel, baby, because I'm here to save your soul, NHL.
The problem with hiring you, Nick, is nothing wrong with you. It's just you use common sense. The NHL can't have it that way. They can't. They have to do things the hard way.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand why this seems so easy. This would have been so much fun. We would have had and selfishly, we would have had, so many people listening live to the podcast because they love the live feel. But now I bet you half the people aren't even watching this. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of pomp and circumstance, but I like pomp and circumstance, Sam. I like when the NFL drafts goes on the warship and makes the pick. I love when they let a Make-A-Wish kid do it. I love throwing the fish. I love putting on the side of buildings. I love pomp and circumstance. I loved it when the Devils traded for Subban and they gave him a big Ric Flair robe. Build up the hype. Make people live up to something. But now it's a little ho-hum. Don't you think?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I feel like right now, like I'm seeing Ron Francis on the screen and gives me memories of when Scott Stevens hit him and he couldn't even find his way to the bench. But aside from that, yeah, you know what? I would have been really engaged and paying attention.
Yeah.
With all these players going and have a little. I mean, this doesn't happen too often where you actually have an expansion, and it kind of sucks that all this was leaked. It had to come from somewhere. It had to come from the Seattle Kraken. And it's like...
No, you know where I think it came from?
The NHL fax machine?
No. I think it came from the agents.
Okay.
The agents have much better relationships with journalists because they get more out of having those relationships. It's funny thing how these relationships work. So the journalists get relationships with agents. So the agents use journalists to get a step on negotiations. To counteract that, GMs have relationships with journalists and try to counteract what the agents are doing. And it's all just one big situation with that. That's kind of how leaks happened. That's the value in leaks, is what I'm saying, is that they give them leaks so when negotiations happen, they can leak other things to them that they can use in legitimate negotiations to try to save themselves some money or try to get a player to come to them, yada, yada, yada. So that's where leaks come from.
Well,
but right now, the agents have those relationships, and they've been talking. Frank Cervalli has been talking to these agents for years.
Of course.
So he calls. Jeffrey Lauzon just got drafted to Seattle from Boston, the defenseman. He calls Lauzon's agent. It's like, hey, is your guy gone? They're like, yeah, my guy's gone. And then there you go. Boom, confirmed. Lauzon is on his way to Seattle. And we know at 10:30 in the morning when this thing's supposed to happen at 8 o'clock at night. So it is what it is. It still looks like a good event. I would love to be there. The people outside on the water, it looks like a really cool event.
Yeah,
I'm big on these outdoor events like the NFL draft. The NHL draft should go outdoors like the NFL draft does. There's more people that fit. It looks like more fun.
Yeah, and I'm thinking out loud. Sorry, Nick. I wanted to say something before, but now I completely forgot what I wanted to say, and it was actually pretty important.
So maybe this leaks somewhere else, Sam. But so we're gonna have Vinnie Parise on a little later to react to the Devils and the Chicago Blackhawks picks. Now the Blackhawks picks I haven't seen much about, but apparently it got leaked. You're never gonna guess who got picked.
Who's that?
You ready for this? Ready?
Yep.
The name is John Quenneville, former Devils first-round pick that we traded.
Wow.
I think it was 1-for-1 for the great John Hayden.
Wow. Those are some names.
John Quenneville. Oh my goodness.
He was the save of Harris and Blitzer getting that pick from the whole Kovalchuk debacle and getting that pick back, right? That's the pick they used for John Quenneville. And
yes.
The other thing, now I remember what I wanted to say before about these leaks. I only pray one day that Lou Lamoriello is the GM of an expansion team in the future. And all these leaks happen. And you know what Lou Lamoriello would do? He would change every single pick. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Because he hates that. He hates that.
I mean, there would be no leaks. There would be no leaks.
Yep.
He would get that red line out. He would call the NHL, or he would leak the wrong picks just to screw with these people. Be like, I'm taking Tarasenko and Carey Price and Andre Palat, and he would just start saying random names.
I'm just watching. I'm watching the Angry Beaver out in Seattle. Has anybody been to Seattle? I've been to Seattle many times. It's a beautiful city.
I'm going to Seattle sometime later this year. We're excited to go to Seattle. We haven't been to Seattle yet. We just did the West Coast for the first time this year. Last year, we went to Utah, and we've done Vegas, but I feel like that's not West Coast. I feel like that's like calling Florida the South. Like, it's not really true. Like, Vegas is its own entity. Like, going out west is like, going out west. Vegas is just, it's a different style. You got the time zone, but that's about it.
Yeah. So how long is this thing going for? How long is this thing going for? 2 hours?
So I would assume so. They'd have to stretch, right? They had to stretch out a little bit.
I mean, how did they do this? Does Ron Francis go up and I'd like to thank the city of Seattle for hosting us?
I know, he's not going to pull a Ray Shero. Don't worry. Not every time.
Hospitality has been great.
But I think they made 2 picks. They interesting. They just showed a Jack Hughes trading card on the TV, so that's fun. Nice little Jack Hughes signature. They made 2 picks. They weren't very it was Lozon and I think the guy from the Sabres. See, it doesn't that's why it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Let me see. Maybe the Seattle.
While you're looking for that, I'm going to plug that on Friday, we are going to have the NHL draft watch party and doing live podcasting, live from Enzo's Pasta Grill or Pasta Grill by Enzo's. Starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, going to 6 to 10. We brought our DJ Shelley will be there. Hope to see you there. We'll be in Northwest New Jersey in the beautiful Hackettstown, New Jersey. Just hanging out, outdoors. I know some people are going to the Prudential Center. We decided, hey, wait a second. We just got to hang out. Just hang out. And the Hockey on Tap guys will be there. Shorts guy will be there. Beer Baron will be there. I'll be there. Nick will be remoted in his confines of his own home studio. And Scotty out in L.A. will also be there. We got music. That's all we have is music. Did we get any swag and prizes? We hadn't done this in 18 months. So I don't think we have any giveaways. But you get to meet us. Just stay 6 feet away.
There you go. Just bring some of the confetti.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll bring some Ranger Suck confetti. How about that?
There you go. Everybody get excited about that. So there's 3 picks in so far officially. Jeremy Lauzon from Boston, Will Borgen from Buffalo, and Dennis Cholowski from Detroit. So, Sam, I hope they're going least impactful to most impactful, but I don't think that's how it is to them. They made some strange picks. So when I look at the Devils pick, going back to the Devils pick, based on everybody else they picked, it doesn't make sense. Based on everyone else they picked, they should have picked Janssen. Somebody who has first line upside. That's Janssen. Especially if you're going to go with somebody like Yanni Gourde from Tampa as somebody you think could be your first line center, you got to go Janssen. Especially because they didn't go Van Riemsdyk from Philly, I don't think. I don't understand a lot of how they made these drafts. It just felt like it was just kind of random. John Quenneville. Some of the names when you think about the value, I get not taking Carey Price, especially when you get Chris Drager from Florida. And you're going to sign him to be your 1A, and you get Vitek Vanacek from Washington, and he could be your backup. And that's a good duo. It's not a great duo, but it's a good duo. And they just announced Dreger officially as their pick. It's a good duo. And then Dreger's coming out with the jersey on. He's there, so he's their guy. He's going to be the starter. They're going to be excited about him. It'll be fine. But when those are you make the announcement on those as your goalies, taking someone, hold on, like they took Curtis McDermott from the Kings. Okay, it sounds like they went defense heavy. They took the best defenseman that they could find, but they didn't take a defenseman from the Devils. They took Bastian, who's, unless they're like, he's big, let's get him. Then I'm like, well, okay. I just when it talks about somebody in the chat a little earlier, and I wanted to get back to it, asked, how do you replace Bastian? Replace him with anybody, literally anybody. So the Devils in the past week have lost Bastian and Maltsev, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two, I will say, on certain teams, NHL ready prospects. That is exactly who they are. They can play on the fourth line, maybe some third lines. I don't see them going anywhere further than that. I don't know how that's a better gamble to take for free when you're taking a third line ceiling guys when you could have had a first line ceiling guy in Janssen or somebody in Will Butcher who definitely, in the right system could be really good. Great power play guy, really works for your team. Or getting a Subban to be the face of your franchise for a year. If it all works out, re-sign him. He kind of just looks like he wants to be somewhere and just stay there. Or my pick was Nick Merkley. Nick Merkley can play all three forward positions pretty well. He has some decent numbers offensively. He has to work on his defense a lot, but you're getting all these defensive forwards. You're getting all these interesting prospects. You're getting all these big guys. Besh just seems like a strange pick. Maybe they picked him because he was young. Maybe they picked him because they wanted to build around something here. That's what seems like what they're doing. They just took Hayden Fleury from the Montreal Canadiens. So officially didn't take Carey Price. Officially didn't take Jonathan Drouin. I don't know what was happening here, but all of these great players were available to the Seattle Kraken, and they just didn't take them.
Maybe they're tanking. Maybe they're tanking for that first overall pick. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're taking a different stance than Vegas did.
And then they got Macklemore out here. Do you remember Macklemore?
Yeah.
When was the last time Macklemore had a hit?
Back when the Seattle Seahawks were winning Super Bowls?
Yeah, like the last time that Macklemore had a hit is when Scott Stevens was still hitting people. Like,
Isn't Pearl Jam from Seattle?
No, I would have much rather seen Pearl Jam. Or Nirvana's from Seattle. Doesn't that mean that Dave Grohl's from there? Though this one makes no sense. They take Joey Decord from Ottawa when you got like Dadonov available, who's another guy who has first line upside like Janssen. Do I want them on my first line? No, but I'm not building a team from scratch. But instead they take Joey Decord, who's a 24-year-old goalie who hasn't shown a ton. So it's... Oh, it looks like the Lightning may be next. The Lightning one might be weird. Because I think if I had to predict, I would predict that they're showing Lightning highlights. So I'm thinking it's the Lightning. I would say they're going to take Gord. But they took Yanni Gord. Fans are about this. Tampa's not with Yanni Gord leaving. I think they're going to make a deal eventually to get Todd too. John Pacific Northwest kid. They really need to get that contract off the books. I think they're going to make that happen. But right now, Yanni Gord, 29 years, probably going to play first-line center for them. He's small, though. 5'9", tiny guy.
Definitely. Sorry, Nick. I need to fix your feed. You were cutting out before. But keep talking.
Oh, no.
I'll figure this thing out.
Okay. I'll just keep talking. Just keep talking. It's like
it's getting back. It's actually now back to normal. It's just fluctuating. It's like anytime you say something important, the feed goes down, and then when you're not saying anything important, you look great. You look fine.
Perfectly fine. That's great.
Yeah.
That's how technology is working. That's just perfectly fine. It is what I'm just saying that the way that they're picking players, I'm not impressed by any picks so far. Any of the official picks. Drieger's fine. I'll take that back. I like the Drieger pick. Getting the goalie who's young enough, who's gonna sign there. But how did you feel when Larson agreed to a contract there? Were you upset that Larson's no longer there? No longer an option?
A little bit. I didn't like how
it would have been a fun way to get him back, but
I'll tell you, when he was traded for Taylor Hall, we kind of forgot about him, but I actually was very high on Adam Larson. If Taylor Hall did not have that keep MVP season, would we be crying that we didn't have Adam Larson on defense?
No, I think it would. I think we would have been fine. I just don't. I really don't. Like, the trade made perfect sense at the time. Taylor Hall is he's still going to get $6 million in this offseason. Still a great player. Or $6 million a year. So I'm never going to regret that trade. We've looked back at it before on Pucks and Pitchforks, and it's not a bad trade. It's still a good trade. It's still a great trade. It's still very one-sided, and Peter Chiarelli is still bad at this job.
This is a little different watching NHL on ESPN, ESPN2. It's a little different. It's kind of hard doing this live podcasting when I should have put the caption on, on the TV, see what's going on.
Yeah.
I see something on stage.
Right. Do I even have that? Is that closed captioning? Yeah, see,
let me
nothing comes up.
Let me go to the comments. On Twitter Live, you can find us at Let's Go Devils Pod. At S Carlucci 527. Fitz has a deal up his sleeve for that second first-round pick. What are your thoughts on that? You think so? It's probably. Probable.
Say it one more time. I heard the very end of that.
Fitz has a deal up his sleeve for that second first-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. But I think that St. Louis is asking for it in a Tarasenko deal, and that's just not happening. I think he's got a couple deals close, including one for Dougie Hamilton. I think that Dougie Hamilton negotiation went very well. Like when they allowed him to go talk to other teams and see if they can trade his rights. I don't think the Devils want to trade for his rights, because I think that they think they can just get him. I think that Tom Fitzgerald is going to go out. It made more and more sense as I kept talking about it, and I think that Tom Fitzgerald wants to just be better. He's sick of it, but he's not going to do it at the expense of the overall message. Like, he's not going to trade Jack Hughes for Jack Eichel. He's not going to do anything like that. But if someone comes to him and says, I really need prospects who are 2 years away. Shakir Mukhamadullin, I want as a part of this, as well as, 3 other prospects who are kind of in the middle. I think he's willing to do that. If they're like, we want the second first-round pick for a really good defenseman, I think he's going to do that. There was rumors that he was shopping the 4th overall pick. There's been a lot of rumors, a lot of Devils rumors this offseason. And that's because I think he wants every deal. I think it's something he learned from Shero. Shero used to play the media pretty well. Mm-hmm. And in exchange, he would go on their shows. He was always on Hockey Central at noon. He was always on with, Elliot Friedman. I think he went on with Greg Wyshynski and ESPN right after he made the PK Subban trade. Very media savvy. I think that's something he learned from something Tom Fitzgerald learned from Shero, is to be media savvy and to work the room, to work the journalists. And that's why you see all these leaks. Because I think Fitzgerald is curious. If teams know that I'm shopping the 4th overall pick, what will they offer me? And what can I get out of this? If I can't get anything good out of it, then I'll keep the 4th overall pick. I'll take Luke Hughes. Life will be good again. If I could get something significant, if somebody offers me a young budding defensive. If Arizona comes and says, I don't have a first-round pick this year, here's Jacob Chychrun, and I can turn the 4th overall pick into a already good young defenseman, I'm down for it. Hold on, I think something happened. Did they say the wrong team name when they announced our pick?
I don't know. Let's read off the comments. Omar, happy expansion draft Devils podcast. Hello, Omar. Ryan Mann says zero excitement for this draft. Took the day off to get drunk and enjoy the show. Useless. You can't treat hockey like other sports, says Steve Tardes. On the YouTube Live, Damien says it's time for Michael McLeod to grow on his own now. There's got to be a trade somewhere tonight.
There's literally not allowed to trade. They're not allowed to trade, so there's going to be no trades. Trades are coming tomorrow.
I got to tell you, because of this debacle with the leaks, and as I'm watching it right now, I'm beginning to absolutely hate the Seattle Kraken.
Oh, rivalry already. Let's go.
I know. I can't wait for Devils, Seattle. We gotta take a plane out there, Nick. Do a live podcast somewhere in Seattle. Bring your umbrella. Although every time I've been to Seattle, it never rains, so I don't know how that works. Jersey Mike says, watching paint dry is funner.
It's funner.
It's funner.
But I just realized what the commotion was about. They said that there's 3 New York teams left. And since Buffalo already went, everybody's assuming that they called New Jersey a New York team. Are you offended by this, Sam?
Yes and no. I think the Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment owns New York. They are controlling Woolman Rink right now, and it's part of our territory. Of course, I'm offended. You're off. You know what? I hate ESPN right now.
I don't. This pick makes no sense. Morgan Geekie, when you got Jake Bean out there, and Nino Niederreiter. Nino Niederreiter and Jake Bean were available, and they took Morgan Geekie. He's played 38 games and has 6 goals. Like, okay, like I don't understand the thought process. They just not want NHL players.
They're tanking, and he's the cut.
They already got the 1st overall pick. It's their draft. This is the expansion draft. Only they are picking. They have picks 1 through 30. And this one from Columbus, they don't take Max Domi, they take Bayreuther. Another guy with only 2, he's 27 with 28 career games played.
And he's related to Ben Lovejoy.
Yeah, he's the cousin of Ben Lovejoy, former New Jersey Devils. So I don't get it, but apparently, I guess we're next. Are we next?
Oh, I can't even tell. I see Kevin Weeks on my screen.
Yeah, it looks like we're next. Let's see who the Devils contribute.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they just opened up a book. Really?
Well, I see Kevin Weeks. He's going through flowers. I see. So it's in the book. He's at like a shop. I don't think Bastian's going to fit in that book, Sam. This is a very long, drawn-out pick here. See, they did it. They had to fill. Yep, there it is. Nathan Bastian. The big boy is off to Seattle officially. Are you sad at all, Sam?
Well, yeah, I was sad because I wanted some kind of continuity. Bastian, again, you said, and I agree with you, you can replace a Bastian with anyone with grit, but at the same time, he kind of grew up with this group, and I just hate to see him leave.
Yeah.
And look, Miles Wood and Oh, who's the other guy? It's Mikey McLeod. I mean, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. But at the same time, what are the alternatives? Would PK Subban gone? His $9 million contract 1 year obviously scared off Ron Francis. The thought of actually having Carey Price and PK Subban together again was just really a pipe dream. I think it was a lot of hype. I think the whole Carey Price thing. I honestly, when you see the headlines that Seattle is given the green light if Ron Francis wants to pull it off, great. I think they gave the green light to anything what Ron Francis wants to do.
Yeah,
that's me.
No, I agree. Yeah, no, I absolutely think that they gave him the green light, and I think this is just one of those things where they're overthinking it.
Yeah. Oh, should I get Vinny? Is that what that means?
No. No, not yet. No, we'll talk to Vinny when the Chicago pick comes on. No, I had a weird feeling, so I was going to tell you to take over for a sec, but I think I'm okay.
Oh, I thought you mean take you full screen.
No. See, I was trying to avoid it, but we're good. I think we're okay. Yeah, and Jordan Eberle just got taken from the Islanders. That's like one of the better players that they took, one of the players that makes sense. But Sam, all of a sudden, Lou's got money.
I know. Isn't that something?
I think he's gonna get Landeskog,
which would be an upgrade, a big upgrade.
Oh, absolutely. I liked Eberle. I was really worried that the Devils were going to take him, or we're going to sign him to a big contract. What was that, 2 or 3 years ago? Because I thought they were going to sign him to make Hall happy. I thought they were going to sign him to get them back together because they're friends. But he's missing something to be worth the amount of money that he makes on the open market. So, yeah, I like the Eberle pick. I do like the Eberle pick. That's one of the few picks that I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
are they going to reach the floor with this team?
Or maybe they're going to go out free agents and overpay.
Yeah. Go after Hamilton.
Because they let them weaponize their no income tax in Washington State. Let them weaponize that. It's a brand new team. Maybe they're just drafting fillers here. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but they're drafting players that can be effective in the first year of the existence of the franchise, but they're not overpaying and overpay for the guys that are available next week.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And they have the ability to overpay right now. They have the extra money. They have the space. So why not do it when you can? Like, give them 3-year deals, 2-year deals, 3-year deals, and that's one way to make it work. I think they should, if they can do it, why not do it?
Yeah. Yeah, Nick, I will try to do this. Maybe we should let the audience know Nick's having a little technical difficulties right now, so I'm going to reset his machine and go solo and talk to everybody on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch, and on the Primetime Radio Network. So right now I'm taking over because Nick's computer is just, it's not doing too well. So I'm going to reset it for him right now as he has to go to the bathroom. So anyway, Friday, if you want to have a real fun time, I don't think anybody's going to be leaking their picks for the NHL draft. We're having a draft party at Pasta Grill by Enzo's, or Enzo's Pasta Grill in Hackettstown, New Jersey. You can watch Nick and I. Well, Nick's actually going to be remoting in, but Shorts Guy will be there. You can come meet up with him. Beer Baron the Hockey on Tap guys, Billy Dean, Little Steve, and Schwim. Excuse me. Yeah, of course, when I go solo, I have to cough, right? So we're going to be there. We're going to try our best. We're going to have a TV set up outside to watch the draft. We'll also have our feed as well. Try to have special guests on the program. That would be great. So we hope to see you there. I know Matt Junio is going. I know Betty and David Decker are going to be at the arena. Tell us how it is. Tell us how it is when you get there. And yeah, and it's going to be a good time just hanging out. It's been 18 months since we had a live event. We'll be live. Mike Rossi, are you coming? Yeah, we're in Northwest Jersey, in beautiful Hackettstown, New Jersey, 1916, Route 57, Enzo's Pasta Grill. They have some. They've got a great menu. I think some of their stuff is vegan. I'm not sure. And Nick, if you can hear me right now, I don't see your computer popping up. Let me know what's going on. This is what happens when you do things live, folks. Live. Mistakes happen. You know, Nick left his console, but you know what? Let's that's his last. This is the last we ever saw Nick. He's not on live air right now. He's not connected. But so losing Nathan Bastian, I'm a little bummed about, but Nick kind of made me feel a little bit better. He is replaceable, but at the same time, I just want to see continuity with the New Jersey Devils. I want to see them grow together. They drafted together, in the farm system together. You know, and that line gave a lot of energy. But now he's the Seattle Kraken. There's nothing we can do about it. It could have been worse, folks. Could have been worse. And just to let you know, Nick's computer is not going up. Do you think Palms and Zajac will return, says Billy from the YouTube Live? No, I think they're goners. After reading Zajac's comments and, you know, Palmieri, I think they're going to stick on Long Island. Maybe not so much Palmieri. I don't know. You know, who takes the spot on the BMW line? Anybody? Maybe Nick Merkley. Who knows? As I try to get Nick Villano's machine going, I'm your host, Sam Wu. This is a State of Fan Address, episode 118. Broadcasting live on Facebook Live, Twitter Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. We are doing a live podcast as the NHL expansion draft is going on. Kind of sucks that all these leaks. Was expecting more surprises. I was looking forward to the whole Carey Price situation. You know, all the hype and rumors. But of course, these reporters have to blow it for us. But that's okay. And I think Nick Villano will be popping on just shortly, trying to get his feed back up and running. Let's see what happens here. Yep, he is back. But not really. But I'll take myself full screen again. So, all right, everybody. Let's read some of the Facebook Live. Ryan Mann, hey, Woo, how about a behind-the-scenes episode? Let us see your Knicks, Short Sky, Beer Barons, and Devil's Collections, things that make them tick, since we need summer content. That's a great idea. I'll show you something. I'll show you that $35 million jet that we want to buy. This is really sad, folks. Really sad. You know why? because we're talking about the expansion draft, and the press blew it for us. They blew it for us, the press. Telling Nick to come back. I don't know what he's doing, where he had to go. It was something bad. Nick, you're back.
I'm back. How do I look?
You look great. Oh, did you literally have to do that? I wasn't sure.
Oh, yeah. No, I was.
Oh, okay. Well, this is what happens when you have an 8 o'clock start. You get out of routine, right? Get out of routine. I was trying to hold the fort. The computer wasn't restarting. I was having all sorts of problems. I hate the Seattle Kraken. And I'm starting to hate ESPN. It's all ESPN's fault.
I think ESPN is sending like a signal out to like blow this up because they want everybody to watch their terrible TV show. The Devils are making fun of Chris Fowler and his mean words towards the Devils. I don't know. Maybe is Chris Fowler a Rangers fan? I know a lot of those ESPN people like Linda Cohn are Rangers fans. Maybe this was maybe it wasn't a slight.
Maybe it's a dig, a little punch at us.
Purpose.
Well, ESPN always hated the New Jersey Devils. Going back to the Gary Thorne years, when we used to watch and all that, it was always boring hockey. It was never boring when you're winning. I can assure you that. Right now, it's boring as this expansion draft.
And honestly, were the Devils ever that boring? Like, if you look at the amount of goals that were scored in those games, it's not like they call the Devils boring, but at the same exact time, Michael Jordan was winning basketball games like 83-79. But they're going to call hockey boring. You know what I mean? Like, when you compare it to today, it's insane. Who did they just pick? They picked somebody. Somebody's walking out. They're all excited about. Who is this?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't even care anymore. I don't even care anymore.
Like, what do you think if you're Nathan Bastian and you're like, oh, I might go to a team that's pretty good, this Kraken team, this might not be that bad, and you see John Quenneville, who go into the Kraken, and then it's Brandon Tanev. So Tanev's a pretty good player. I know the Penguins fans are pretty upset that Tanev is now on the Kraken. I thought they might take Jason Zucker because Jason Zucker, he's another reclamation project, but he's a little more expensive. And, Tanev is a really good player. So I think this is a really good pick. But just overall,
where are we on the draft board? Where are we? I'm just so confused.
I think we're almost half. What is this picture
when is
of
Chicago?
Tanev? Do you see this picture, Sam? Look at the picture of Tanev. Do you got it up?
Yeah.
What is this? Why? Like, what happened? Who scared him? Did he have hiccups and somebody actually was yelling at him?
I don't know.
You got to
right.
Look at this. Look at this smiley guy. Smiley guy on the stage, and then we got big-eyed Tanev looking all scared in his profile picture.
Okay, so Washington's picking, right? Or no, I'm sorry. They're picking Washington, the Washington Capitals.
Okay.
I see the names on the Facebook Live. Yes.
Vanacek, I think is his name.
Yeah, Vanacek. Yeah, I guess the Devils don't have to face
board.
him anymore.
So they're going in. So they're going in, I guess, in division order. Is that what they're doing?
Maybe.
Yeah, because I guess. Yeah, because they did all of the Atlantic. They're doing the Metro. Colin Blackwell's another one. An interesting pick from the Rangers. I'm not sure about that one, but Vanacek's not bad. He's a fine goalie, right?
Yeah, he's a pretty good goalie. I mean, I'll tell you what, this is not the direction that I thought Seattle would be going. I'll be quite honest. I'm not if I was a Seattle fan right now, I'd be happy to even have a team. But right now, I'm looking at all these players. If I was Bastion, I'd be happy. You know why? It's not the, he's going to compete for a job, but, you know.
Here's the reality of this, right? And the same thing goes for Mikhail Maltsev. For the people who are upset that we lost Maltsev, they were going to get lapped by the prospects coming up. They just were. You got Holtz, Mercer, Foote, a guy like Boquist. You got players like Gritz who play really well at forward. There's Tice Thompson. There's so many forward prospects get from all walks of life, all kinds of players, all kinds of size, shape, skill level. Maltsev and Bastion are not necessary. I'm trying to think of the word. I guess replaceable is the word. They're just not ever going to be that top level guy. You know what I mean? Like they're just never going to be at that level. So I liked Bastion. That's it. I think this is going to hurt as bad as John Merrill leaving hurt, which is not much.
Yeah, I would agree. I think at the end of the day, I think you're right. I think you're right. In the big picture, grand scheme of things, I just wanted that continuity with that line. Not just as a fan, but that was the one big positive last season was that line. It had some resemblance of the old Crash line, the energy, the scoring, playing tough.
Yeah,
that's all.
And I know a lot of people thought of it as that fourth line of the 2012 team with Bernier, Carter, and Giunta, and it had that feel too. That line was a little smaller. Bernier was big, but Giunta and Carter played like a smaller role. I don't know. I think that you got the. I'm trying to think of who would immediately replace Bastion. Well, who would immediately replace Bastion on that line right now is Boquist. I think you're going to get the revitalization of Jesper Boquist next season. I think he's going to be good, and he's skilled. He's a very skilled player. He plays defense. He plays a two-way game. He's not going to hit people like Bastion, obviously, but I don't need that. There's a couple worries about the ripple effect of Bastion. It's the impact on Miles Wood, the impact on Michael McLeod, who both had their best seasons in NHL, and the impact on the success of Fitz now that he lost one of his big guys. Because he's going after big guys. Graves is a big guy. All the people that he's rumored to go over, they're bigger guys. They're people who bring size. Same you always say, where's the beef? Well, Fitzgerald is bringing the beef. He's bringing those big guys who can hit, big guys who can block shots. They lost a lot of that when they made those trades a couple years ago.
Yep.
Andy Green, he's not a big guy, but he was a guy who blocked shots and was willing to sacrifice. Subban will block shots, but that's not his best attribute because he's not a guy who's been doing it for his whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Severson will block shots, but he's just not as good at it as other players. And again, that's not the skill set you want. You want him pushing the puck up, not getting in front of teams firing the puck.
Yeah.
By the way, side note, did you really think that Andy Green was going to last now going to his third season with New York?
I thought he'd be retired by now.
That's what I'm saying. Like I thought it was going to be one run. Then he must have liked the run, so he came back. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Now he did it again. Signs again for $750,000.
It's good money.
I mean, to get a puck shot at you at 100 miles an hour, I don't know how good the money is, but I'm sure Lou has some mobster under the table. You know, maybe he's giving Andy Green a car wash along with that $750,000. You could take Lou out of Jersey, but you can't take the jersey out of Lou.
Have they picked a Chicago player yet?
Not yet. I don't believe so. I think we just picked an Arizona
lost. Player. Okay, I'm all lost.
Well, yeah. I'm going to try something, Sam. Just
all right. I'll go full screen. You just give me the signal that you're back. Nick's having trouble with his feed. It's me again. Just remember that on Friday night, we're having our NHL draft viewing party. We're going to be live. And I think Nick's back.
We tried something. I'm here.
Is it working any better? I don't think it's working any better.
You would know better than me.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Let's try something. All right.
We're trying something.
I had to turn off the draft, LOL. I'll tell you what. Looking at our streaming numbers, we've been holding pretty well on all of our platforms. That tells you how bad this expansion draft is. I was a little afraid that it would take away from our audience. You know, that everybody was going to be watching it. But really, it's really a Seattle PR campaign going on right now. Oh, yay, we got a team. Seattle, yeah, Space Needle, yeah, Pearl Jam, whatever, Seattle. But the reality is,
right now
I'm starting to
Seattle
not like
Supersonics, Gary Payton and Sean Kemp out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to see Sean Kemp out on his feet because, you heard he wasn't doing so well. So for him to be out there and doing well, that's good to hear. But again, I would be all for this pomp and circumstance if this meant anything.
Yeah. I mean, these fans. I want.
Also, what are they doing? Get Sean Kemp a bigger shirt. Like they gave him like an extra medium. What are they doing?
John Quenneville. He's on my screen right now.
People are cheering. Are they cheering for John Quenneville?
I think they're cheering for John Quenneville. Should I go get Vinny?
Yeah, why don't we get Vinny? Why don't we talk to Vinny a little bit about this? Because I'm confused, and I think he's going to be confused. I think we're all going to be confused. Yeah, I don't. So there it is. There's John Quenneville. He's 7 points in 42 career NHL games. Hey, all I remember about John Quenneville is back in 2018. We had that big offseason where Van Riemsdyk was available, and was that the Shattenkirk year? It was a Shattenkirk year. We thought the Devils could get all these players, and they got no one. They're like Eric Greba. And it was because they thought, we want to give more of a shot to John Quenneville. I don't get it. It does make a lot of sense to me. Jonas Donskoy is going to Seattle from Colorado, which isn't a terrible pick, but I bet you if I looked at their whole entire situation, they were definitely going to lose Ryan Graves. But now they lost Jonas Donskoy. I don't get this team. I wish I had better analysis for you. Everybody out there. I wish I did because what this team could have been really good. How are you not taking Tarasenko? I mean, Vince Dunn's pretty good. There's just so many better. And Jared McCann was the right pick. over Alex Kerfoot. McCann's going to be pretty good. Good second or third line center guy. But outside that, seems like a lot of bad decisions. The Butcher thing would have made a lot of sense for them. Get a guy, he's a little undersized, so I get that, but he's 26 years old, signed to a fine contract. He's a guy who was, he's an American. He has a lot of things going for him when it comes to this team. And they just took Jamie Alexiak, who reportedly has already agreed to a 5-year deal with Seattle. It's just interesting. Hey, listen. He's coming up with the toothless smile. You got to love the toothless smile. We love the toothless smile here on the Let's Go Devils podcast. Jamie Alexiak, the Quenneville pick, I can't get over that. Beyond like the Bastion pick, beyond that, is that not? I'd have to really look at the Chicago unprotected list. But is that the worst pick they made? Is Quenneville even going to make the team? I guess that Vegas picked a couple players that never even made the team. They immediately didn't sign with them. And Quenneville might be a guy who just never makes the team or just plays in the AHL forever. I don't understand how that was their pick. Nobody had Quenneville. Nobody. Sam, you back? You got everything?
Yeah, I think so. We've been having technical difficulties all night, but we got Vinnie Parise, the Seattle Leakers, says Getty 27 on YouTube Live. All right, from Pucks and Pitchforks blog, he's a big contributor, good friend of the podcast. His name is Vinnie Parise. You can find him on Twitter at Vinnie Parise. Vinnie, you're on with Sam and Nick. How are you, my friend? Are you bored yet?
Oh, guys, this has been brutal. Like, I've been looking forward to this all week. I turned down going to a White Sox game here in Chicago to cover this thing and be here for it. And I should have just went to the game because everything that's happened has been like, yep, do that this morning. Yep, Nick tweeted about that this morning. Yep, Sam tweeted about that this morning. I tweeted about that. It's been kind of boring. Like the Minnesota Wild tweeted that 8 hours ago.
So let me ask you this, Vinny. Let me ask you this, and this is in all seriousness. Do you think Seattle themselves leaked this team because they knew they put together a crappy team? There's all the hype about Tarasenko, all the hype about Carey Price. Who are they going to take from Toronto? What is this team?
Yeah, I mean, I've discussed, like, I thought I was going to learn my lesson from Vegas. Like, oh, don't say they're going to stink. You can't do it. These guys, this team's going to stink, right? Like, I cannot believe some of the selections they made. Like, I like Yanni Gord, right? I like Jared McCann.
Yeah.
The goaltending.
Jordan Eberle,
I actually really like Nate. Yeah, of course, Jordan Eberle's a great player. I actually really like Bastion and Blackwell from the Rangers and Devils because I think they could put together like a pretty harmful fourth line. But I mean, just some of the players that were available to them, and it's like this team could be good and draft well this year, kind of like Vegas did. And it's just been not great. Maybe they like Shane Wright just as much as every other bad team's fan base, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, maybe, and we've had people in the chat say multiple times maybe they're tanking, maybe they're already tanking for the number one pick, but they had the number one pick right now. But Bastion. So let's talk about Bastion. Let's talk about the Devils first, and I want to get to Chicago and that bizarre pick. How are the Devils going to replace Bastion first of all? Let's focus on the Devils first.
Yeah, so with Bastion, he was a good player, but I'm not going to sit here and cry over losing a fourth line player on a good team. He's a great physical presence on the ice, but if they can drop down someone like Miles Wood, make him a full-time fourth liner, create a third line out of guys like Sharangovich or Kokkonen, even if that's a second line, there's going to be forwards brought up like Dawson Mercer throughout the years. Alexander Holtz, you would think, makes the jump soon enough. We don't know what's going to end up happening this year with the draft. So their top six is going to be a little more full as the years progress here. So that could bump some guys down. You got McLeod, you got Zaka. So losing Bastian, it's not great, but it could be worse. A lot of people wanted them to take one of Subban or Butcher, but I just think the defense, they need more bodies than they have even now. So I'm not terribly upset with the pick, to be honest with you.
Hey, listen, I've seen some people call it the worst case scenario, which is just bizarre. Like, even if he showed upside like Steve Bernier did back in the day on that fourth line, I'd be a little bit more upset. But he's good. I liked having Bastian on the team. I don't want to disparage the guy. I'm just not upset. I knew we were going to lose a player. And when I found out the player is Nathan Bastian, who everybody's like, well, we need him for hits. You don't need anybody for hits. Like Miles Wood was the hitting guy the other year, last year, 2 years ago. And look what happened when you told him to stop hitting so much. He turns into a really good offensive player.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like when you hit, that means you don't have the puck, because you can't hit when you have the puck as a team. So it's really hard to like use that as a reason that the Devils are getting gypped here. But it is funny to me that out of all the teams, Seattle decided to take like a pretty good player from the Devils, and then they're taking guys like Quenneville and a bunch of guys who have 12 games played in the NHL, and they look at the Devils, they're like, yeah, but we'll take one of their good players. So I get it from that perspective. He's got 60-something points in 100-something games. In the last 100-something games, I guess I should say. It's not – he's a good player. He's going to help them, and he'll be on their roster. But I don't know. I'm not terribly upset.
So I thought they were going to take Nick Markley. I honest to goodness thought they were going to take Nick Markley based on what Vegas did and based on what we heard that Seattle prioritized. I thought Nick Markley made a lot more sense. He's another guy that probably would have like gotten people like, oh, that's bizarre. But Nick Markley still makes sense because he does a little bit more. I think he has a little bit more of an upside than Bastian. I think he's got speed, he's got a good shot, he's got good skills. He's really not great on the defensive side, so maybe that's what disqualified him. But I thought that they were going to overlook that for this situation. Who did you think in your heart of hearts they were going to take before you found out it was Bastian?
Oh, I thought they were going to take Bastian. I said it on my show on Wednesday or Tuesday. It just seemed like Subban wasn't going to go there just because of the $9 million cap hit. And I know their cap floor is a little different, but I didn't see the Devils retaining if they were going to get rid of him because they're so below the cap as it is. And what is it, 1 year left on the deal? So, Subban will play for the Devils next year unless they can find a trade partner that makes sense. But Will Butcher, they didn't do a good job of selling Will Butcher this season. He was benched for the first half of the season. And when he did come into play, he actually had a couple of points. But nobody looks at Will Butcher in terms of like an expansion draft where like there are good defensemen available to them. Like Lozon from Boston, that was a great pick by Seattle. I actually really like that. They got Adam Larson. There's going to be better players on the defensive side available than Will Butcher and even Subban at that point. But so that's why I'm really not surprised. I actually would have put Merkley second on my list behind Bastian. I agree with you. He would have been a fair pick and an on-brand pick.
I think but like Janssen would have made sense too. Janssen has a lot of upside.
Yeah, and that's confusing to me why so many Devils fans would have rathered him go than Bastian, because he didn't perform very well in 2021 as a Devil. But because, the offense wasn't there, but it's not like he's not better than Nathan Bastian. I think if we all had to pick one guy for 1 year, you would probably take Janssen just because he could play in all four lines if he needed to. The ceiling's way higher for him. So hearing the hatred for him kind of surprised me a little bit. I try not to even tweet about him because I don't want to hear people with their just pure hatred of the guy. I hope he bounces back next season because he actually does have some skill. I agree with you.
So let's talk about this John Quenneville pick. You've been watching. You split your time with the Devils and the Blackhawks. So you probably had a vested interest in John Quenneville being drafted by your favorite team and then playing for your hometown team. What has John Quenneville done since leaving New Jersey?
Honestly, it was when the expansion protected list came out that I even remembered that John Quenneville was in the Chicago Blackhawks organization still, because he played the entire 21 season with the Rockford Ice Hogs, which is Rockford, for those who don't know, is about a town maybe 30 miles west of Chicago. It's one big highway away, but it takes a little bit to get there, but it's close enough where I've been to plenty of games in my life. But with COVID and there being no fans, I didn't get to a game in last season at all. So he was just a complete obsolete thought in my brain for the last year. And Hayden was kind of bad for the Devils. So it's not like the trade was anything other than each team trading each other's garbage for one another. And I'm just stunned that Seattle made that pick, because they could have had Dahan or they could have had Zadorov, who I personally don't think is all that great. But, at least the Artemi Panarin trade tree lives on, right, Blackhawks? But it's just crazy to me that they went with that pick. Ryan Carpenter would have been a better pick, a little more on-brand pick. He played for Vegas in their first year. So, yeah, I cannot believe they took John Quenneville. There's got to be something going on there.
Is that the worst pick of the draft?
Oh, I think it absolutely is the worst pick of the draft, because all the other guys who people might not know their names, I mean, obviously guys like us who do podcasts and write, we're a little too obsessed with hockey, so we know most of these guys. But
no, Vinny, I don't mean to cut you off. I don't know half of these people. I don't know half of these people.
Fair enough.
I do a hockey podcast. Okay. I write for 3 hockey websites. I don't know half the people that just got drafted in the expansion draft.
Okay, and that to me proves my point even further, because you are so invested in the league, and a lot of these guys are, no names to you, but at least some of them, most of them, 15 NHL career games, 20 NHL career games. John Quenneville has more than had his chance to prove that he is going to live up to being the 30th overall pick in 2014. And, that pick just has so much stink on it, too, because of the fact that it was the one from Kovalchuk being given back to them, and then he turned out to stink. I mean, that entire, 2 or 3 year span of Devils hockey, people think it's bad now. I'd rather be where we are right now, 10 out of 10 days, than where we were that year and that little stretch. But, I mean, I just could not believe my eyes when I read. I think it was Steve Dangle, actually, who was the first person to report that John Quenneville was the selection. And at first he thought a deal was involved, but then Scott Powers, who writes for the Hawks for The Athletic, confirmed it wasn't a trade. So I just couldn't believe it.
So do you know, I was trying to figure this out. We haven't seen it. Would they happen tomorrow? Because I was hearing that the Lightning was going to involve a trade and could involve another player, and I was assuming that meant Tyler Johnson. But does the roster freeze include Seattle?
Yeah, honestly, I have no idea on that rule, because I wasn't even fully sure. Some of the rules are kind of hard to understand. When guys were named as free agents, but they were unprotected, I didn't even know that if they sign them, that counts as their pick. So, Edmonton's pick is Larson. And so stuff like that just confused me. So I didn't even... Yeah, if there's a trade that comes out later, it's a little strange, because I remember when Vegas did theirs at the NHL Awards in 2017, they would say, the Wild traded Alex Tuck to Vegas in order for them to select Eric Holla. Just stuff like that, and none of that's been happening here today, so it's a little strange.
And they have the graphic up from the 2021 entry draft, showing that 5 of the first 9 picks are in the Pacific Division. What a terrible division. So do you think, even they're in this bad division, do you think, and we pretty much know the whole team, Is there anyone we don't know? Can you think of off the top of your head? I think the Rangers was one of the last ones we didn't know. From the expansion draft. Is there any teams that are going to be a surprise?
I saw on Twitter earlier that it was Blackwell. So
Oh, did you? Okay. That one I didn't see.
Did Detroit's leak out? I know Steve Yzerman is like a wizard with not letting things leak out. But other than that, you brought up the Pacific.
But that's another guy I never heard of. I would have leaked that. Just leak it. Nobody cares.
Yeah, exactly. And with the Pacific Division, you brought it up. A lot of that has to do with the fact that the Central Division is the best division in hockey, in my opinion. And half of those teams moved over to the quote-unquote West Division in the COVID season, and they just went there and dominated because, you know, the Wild, the Avalanche, and the Blues, they all made the playoffs. They would have been in the Central anyway in a normal season, and then the Predators got in. So that's why I also think Seattle, they're going to have a chance to be competitive next season because all those great teams are going to go back to the Central, and they're going to have to deal with Edmonton and Vegas, who will be pretty good. But then it's San Jose, LA. So I have no idea what their thought process is here.
Before I let you go, Vinny, and I'm going to give you a chance to kind of promote what you're doing on all your sites. Busiest man at Fansite over here. Give me a prediction for the Devils offseason. It's about to get wild over the next 7 days. Do you think something crazy? I think something crazy is gonna. I think two crazy things are gonna happen. I think we're getting two. I think the Ryan Graves thing was an appetizer. I think we're gonna get 2 meals out of that. What do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely love the Ryan Graves trade. That's who I thought Seattle would select from Colorado if they didn't make that trade. So good on the Devils for doing that. They're an improved team for that reason. I believe over the next week or so, we're going to hear some heavy Dougie Hamilton rumors. And whether or not it comes to fruition is a different story. Will another team swoop in? I just think they're going to be heavily involved in that process. So that's my prediction number 1. Prediction number 2, I would say, I think they're going to try and redo the Corey Crawford thing. So he retired during training camp, and, you know, he wasn't there to back up Blackwood. And then when he got COVID, the entire train fell off the track. So I'm going to say that they're going to go for another big-time goalie to be a 1A or 1B with Mackenzie Blackwood next season, whether that be one of the Vegas guys or even something a little off the hook like Yaroslav Halak or Peter Mrazek. I think Bernier's available. So a goalie and then being in on Dougie Hamilton till the very end are my 2 kind of big predictions here.
Okay. I think something huge is gonna happen before the draft. Huge. Like Tarasenko huge. Honestly, or something of that level.
I hope you're right.
I don't think it's gonna be Tarasenko.
Right because
go ahead, Vinny.
You don't think it's gonna be Tarasenko?
No, I think it's going to be at that level. I think it's going to be a name that big. I think it's going to be somebody you haven't heard of yet.
Okay, interesting. I really hope you're right because they're bad, right? Like, what's his name made a joke, the College Game Day guy, and they're struggling. And last place year after year, people on Twitter, they didn't come in last. Buffalo was worse. Okay, the team that might trade a top 10 player was a little worse. But
Buffalo is not in our division next year.
Exactly. They're, as of right now, the worst team in the Metropolitan Division. And I don't think it's close. Now, if Nico Hischier really takes that next step as a captain, which is possible, I think Jack Hughes has the potential to be an offensive superstar. I love Ty Smith. What we've seen from Kuokkanen and Sharangovich has been unbelievable. The goaltending has a chance to be good. So that could start the process of a turnaround. Pittsburgh takes a step back. Crosby and Malkin are getting older. Same thing with Washington. Ovechkin isn't even signed right now. So, there are a lot of things that could happen that elevate the Devils next season. But if they're going to be like a rebuilding team forever, let's at least make it fun. Give me something to watch. Like, at least Hall was interesting for a year. Everyone kind of hates Taylor Hall now, but that was so much fun. Like, if you're going to build towards a cup, that's one thing. But, I mean, make it at least a little bit exciting.
Yeah, I think that they have to do something. And I'm not big on doing something for something's sake, but you know, the entire fan base is the meme poking the Devils logo saying do something. This is the offseason to do it. You have all the cap space in the world. Teams aren't trying to spend. Josh Harris is a cajillionaire. His next move is probably going to space, because apparently that's just what billionaires do, is just go to space. And hey, how about you spend some money on the team? They've saved a lot of money at a time where they needed to save money. They got lucky that Tom Fitzgerald really didn't break the bank on the salary cap when there was never going to be fans in the arena. And they got some fans in the arena. They got a little bit of a gate when they didn't expect it. And, you know, he cut the payroll. Selling Coleman, selling Simmons, selling Hall, selling a lot of those pieces. And then they lost the revenue for the rest of the season. They didn't have to pay those salaries out. Now it's time for the chicken to come to roost. It's time for a move to be made. Listen, if Hamilton doesn't want to come here, I can't blame him. It's hard to – somebody's going to pay him a stupid amount of money. The Devils might outbid everybody, but they're not going to do it by $1 million or $2 million per season. They're going to do it barely. And if another team like a Seattle or like a – you know, somebody weird – you know, I'm trying to think of, like, Colorado can't do it because they got the McKinnon contract coming up and they got the McCarr contract to negotiate.
Yeah.
But if, you know.
They're having a hard time with Landis.
Yeah, but let's say Detroit comes and gives them all the money in the world. They got that management that you can trust there. Even though they've been bad for as long as the Devils have been bad, they got a management group that's, you know, Yzerman built this Lightning team. And if you're Hamilton, you see that. You see how they built. So, you know, if you're picking between something like Detroit, which is also an original six team, hockey is engraved in Detroit. They love it there. Their ownership group is very big into hockey and all hockey-related things. You know, can the Devils compete with that besides just the fact that, like, we have a lot of money? And honestly, the Devils have to just throw the money around, overpay a little bit, but maybe it'll be worth it. And if you get one free agent to sign here, if you get Dougie Hamilton to sign here, it's going to open eyes. Because the same thing happened in New York. When the Islanders got people to start signing there, people started to look at the Islanders as an actual option. Like, Panarin was legitimately thinking about going to the Islanders over the Rangers. He really wanted to go to the Rangers. It was always going to work out with the Rangers. But if the Rangers didn't hit the price they needed to hit, then he might have gone to the Islanders. It sounded like they were legitimately a contender. And if the Devils can show they can sign the big names, I think that'll go a long way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, if one free agent chooses, then other teams are going to be like, well, what does Dougie Hamilton see? And then you look at the roster, Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes, right? It begins and ends with those two. If you can build through the middle of the ice, we've seen it with, you know, the last 5 or so Stanley Cup champions. They all start in the middle of the ice with the top 2 centers. And if each of them reaches their ceiling, they are so different that it would help. And then you got Ty Smith and, you know, guys like that. So I think when you look a little deeper, it could be a nice destination, but you got to look pretty deep and understand what could be.
So, Vinny, I want to thank you for coming on, fill in some of the dead space here, because this got boring real fast on this Seattle draft. But plug some of the stuff you're doing. Plug stuff you're doing with the Windy City at Pucks and Pitchforks, Southside. Just tell us everything you're doing.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having me on. It was honestly a relief to come on in the middle of this boring expansion draft. I'd like to thank Elliot Friedman and all those guys for ruining it for us this morning and letting everyone know what the picks were. So that was fun. I'm on Twitter at Vinnie Parise. I love it when people follow me and talk sports with me. I'm doing the Chicago teams at the Windy City and, of course, specifically the White Sox on Southside Showdown. I never thought I'd see the day where this team is that good. They've been kind of like the Devils. They've been bad pretty much forever. And it's finally like a World Series wagon. So we'll see what they're able to do down the stretch as they get healthier. And I love, helping people understand knowledge of baseball. As far as hockey, the Devils and the Blackhawks, covering both of them for Fansided. So it's a lot of fun. We got a lot coming up with the draft. And, we'll be around Friday night.
Absolutely. And Vinny, thanks so much for coming on. Make sure you follow him, the Windy City, at Vinnie Parise. He's going to share all his content. He's going to have content for days. He's Alexander Hamilton because he's writing late. He's running out of time. But thanks a lot for coming on, Vinny.
Thank you guys for having me. I'll talk to you soon.
That is Vinnie Parise, a Pucks and Pitchforks blog. I should talk to him off air and tell him that the Mets are coming after his White Sox in the World Series.
I don't know. I've been listening to New York area radio shows because I don't care about baseball this season because the Yankees are terrible. But they talked about the Mets. Y'all had a situation right in your hands with those lowly Pittsburgh Pirates. My wife's Pittsburgh Pirates. The entire in-law clan, big Pirates fans. Back to the Willie Stargell, Dave Parker days. You had, 6 games in a row against them?
It was Edwin Diaz, amongst
2.
others.
You went 2-4 against the Devils of baseball.
They could get lucky every once in a while.
Yeah. No, listen, your division is pretty terrible, so I still think you're going to win it. Jacob deGrom could probably win it by himself as long as he stays healthy-ish. But you're going to get, listen, you're going to get a lot of people back. It's going to be fine. Yeah, I don't know, Sam. I don't know what else there's to say. This draft was terrible. I was all excited about it, too. I was really big excited. But you know what? You know what would have been the worst? Would have been even worse, Sam? If I came into it and I had to scramble to figure out who the hell these people are. It's like, oh, they took Curtis McDermott.
Who?
You just hear me typing, and you're asking me to be like, oh, give me the breakdown analysis, Nick, of Curtis. But no idea, Sam. Hold on. This was another an aquarium. I love the pomp. I love the circumstance. I hate the picks. It got boring because we know everybody. But yeah, you know what we're not going to know though, Sam? We're not going to know what's happening at the NHL entry draft.
Yeah.
Friday night. What time are we going on? We going on at 8?
I don't know yet. What time does the draft start? At 7? So we may go at 6:45 Eastern. When we're at Enzo's Pasta Grill, I think the music starts at 6 p.m. there.
Ooh.
And everyone's going to be filing in. We'll have our setup, and it's going to be outdoors in the parking lot. We're doing a Jersey style. They're allowing us in the parking lot, all set up. You can eat dinner there. Come meet the guys. Yeah, I like to eat too. I think I like to eat a little too much. A lot of fun.
But I think Friday's the night. So I think we're gonna wrap it up here because they're on the last pick, and say levy. But to wrap up, we're gonna have lots. So tomorrow, the Pucks and Pitchfork mock first round comes up, including a pick from one Sam Wu. But we got 7 of the writers at Pucks and Pitchforks to come out to give their picks for the first round. the Devils. Picks are all over the place, which is exciting. You get an analysis from everybody. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to have my mock draft coming out tomorrow. I think it's going to come out in the afternoon, Sam. My mock draft comes out tomorrow. Full mock draft. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm excited about that because I went through the picks, and there's some players. There are some players around. You're not going to like them, Sam, because I picked some smaller players, but there's some players with crazy skill that have a lot of upside. But, you know, I got out on Puck Pros right now. If you search for my name, Nick Villano and Puck Pros, you'll get my profile. I got the best draft picks of all time and the worst draft picks of all time. Big articles, 10,000 words on draft picks out right now. And then the next 2 weeks, you'll get the best and worst trades of all time. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to write both those pieces. But check out Pucks and Pitchforks. Oh, and then right now on Pucks and Pitchforks, you got 5 players, 5 defensemen and 5 forwards I think the Devils can take with that 29th overall pick. And then also, this weekend starts all the free agency coverage. So expect 3, 4, 5, I don't even know how many pieces on that.
Great stuff. Good stuff. We'll see you Friday night at Enzo's Pasta Grill in Hackettstown, 1916 Route 57. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for making us the most commented Devils podcast in the history of New Jersey Devils podcasts. Till next time, let's go Devils.